Hi everyone, this is Asteria. I'm hosting today's ACD. We're discussing the last two chapters of The Wandering Inn, chapter 10.42T, the last of the Torrhen series, and the interlude for Vernoue, which I'm probably mispronouncing, but two chapters today. We're going to get everyone's takes and general impressions. To start with, is there anyone who'd like to jump right in and share their takes on either or both chapters, what you liked, maybe something that didn't hit as strongly for you, things you're wondering about, before we dig into the specific questions?
Yes.
Yes. I can't write right now.
Okay, so go ahead. The first yes. Rachel, I think it was.
Or then I just go ahead. I liked the Torrhen chapter was awesome, the last one. Torrhen finally working in an inn again. And I mean, I should have seen it coming. Obviously, there's an inn heading to New World, Torrhen is heading into New World. So of course she is ending up there. I really enjoyed how the staff started shooting Torrhen when they see how he works. I really liked how they handled Healing Slime, or Jiminy Slime, how I'm calling him right now in my head. And Eren getting chewed out was also funny, but obviously they don't know the whole story, why she acted like she acted. But the final tone chapter was nice. The interlude from today was okay. I haven't really much to say about it. Just it was an okay chapter. Just thinking about that there are monkeys in Inworld and they know about evolution theory.
So
But
we did, I think, see them before, right? There was kind of a brief mention of them, I think, when, who was it? The rower was being recovered,
Luon?
I believe. Yeah, I think it was during one of his chapters. I think we saw them before.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, that's a long way off. Don't have that in my head.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they were monkeys or apes, but we have encountered a sort of semi-intelligent monkey or ape race
Oh, of course.
before.
Isn't one
Yeah.
of the 100 friends a monkey? From
No,
the
it's not that one. It's a different. It's like
but he
maybe someone can remind us of the context, but it's a different, like,
There was this group of monkeys in the jungle who played drums and stuff. They were also like smart.
yeah. But you're right that we had a very intelligent monkey slash ape. Not entirely sure which is which. That was one of the 100 friends, but I don't think he was a member of that race or species.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think Seve met them when he went to Belarus on his way back to meet.
Also
to meeting
possibly
Eren
true.
first time.
Okay. All right. So that was Mafia Hamster. Bleach Soul, did you want to go?
Yes. Well, the Torrens chapter were absolutely amazing. I loved them. I was waiting for a long time to get Torrent chapter, and I hoped for actually 3 chapters to get like a journey for Torrent, and it was really great. It was nice seeing him learning stuff, and actually Barney has been like way better teacher than Eren, and he's teaching like Torrent all kind of things. He's learning also from the other staff. So that was really great chapter, and how he rejected being a Skeleton King and stuff. So and now he's back to being a barmaid and a guardian. So and it's nice seeing also like Slime thriving there and developing as well, sentience and stuff. So it was all around an amazing chapter. With regards to Vernoue, I like it. I actually was hoping we get because it was a part of the poll, I think, and it should be like short chapter, but it became like a giant one. So I like checking in on others because it's part of why I like the Wandering Inn. So we get little side stories here and there, and get kind of a look through the hourglass on different characters and plots and world building and stuff. So it was great seeing Vernoue react. How is she with her sisters, and how is she with her mother, and how and what's the dynamic between the family there. And I really like the confrontation between Lionette and Vernoue. Uh, so so yeah, I mean, it was really a very good chapter. So I really liked them. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So we'll read out some people's feedback that they've written in chat. Sidehammer says, best new character, Nexty. This is a man who toddles with all that word implies, and daughters. He reminds me of my grandpa, that being Sidehammer's grandpa. P.S. He's also probably ex-Forgotten Wing Company, one who made it out of the dungeon. Note, using swan as a verb is delightfully descriptive. Ellett, please no hidden evil twists. She is precious, and please, pirate, don't kick her. You kick too many woobies. They love that Leon's gut punch actually freaking landed on that bitch Lilane in the face. Vernoue reads it as her mother's usual intelligence gathering and manipulations, but it's a spurned mother subconsciously trying to prove that she obviously is doing all of this for their own good because she obviously loves them. If they were only intelligent enough to notice, and how dare they try to cut her out? At least that's how they feel about it. They could also read an entire chapter of Leon and her sisters talking about all the adventures around the inn. Favorite quote, she looks halfway to being one of your heroines in your storybooks. The Renta. And lots of fire emoji agreements. Maria says, they really rather like how the Heaven is welcoming Tauren and giving them a place, and how it ended up being a place for the former Plainside Knoll. They're both starting over from similar positions. Leon racing Aaron to become a One Piece main character is hype. Kanae said they enjoyed both chapters quite a bit. For Tauren's chapter, they just like his and the slime stories, and even if the Adventurers Haven hadn't properly grown on them yet, but they've had a good time with them, and they'll give them a chance in the future. For Vernoue's chapter, they were afraid at first, didn't think they would like it. A chapter about her, but they do like the reaction chapters and enjoyed how everyone reacted to Leonette's news. And later, the conversation with her. And later, Vernoue started to grow on them a bit. More so, everything she lived later and the overall mysteries were an enjoyable read. I have noticed that tends to be the case when we encounter newer characters, right? Sometimes readers groan a bit, but by and large, I think we all come to really enjoy the character's perspective, love them or hate them, but get kind of invested by the end of a chapter, especially for newer characters. Very rarely does a character miss completely in The Wandering Inn. We have so many examples of this, Vernoue just being the latest one. Okay, so I'm going to rely on you guys to copy and paste in which discussion question you would like from the reaction document today. So whoever puts their discussion question in first is the one that we will do. You can pick one for either chapter. I saw lots of good ones in there. And that will be our first discussion question of the ACD.
I can't access the document.
I don't know what to tell you. I would say try opening it again. It should be open to everyone. All right, Marios, good. Or I guess it is Mario. Like your name's Mario's with lots of S's, but I've been pronouncing it different ways. Okay.
She just that.
So the first discussion question is, what do you think about Tauren's evolution as a character? So reminder, we've had 3 chapters, right, touching base with him and the slime after so long. We had our conclusion chapter for his current check-in and character arc last week. We're discussing it a little bit late. So what do you guys think? We got to sort of see what he's up to. He's starting off a whole new adventure, literally, in the new lands, kind of where we left him, but he's been going through a lot, right? From starting as a skeleton and kind of robot maid in Aaron's Inn, growing sentience, so to speak, and having, a very difficult relationship with his mother, Aaron. And she's just been kind of figuring things out ever since then. All right, what do you think, Marius?
First, I was really happy to see Thorin back again, also from the last chapter, and it's really. I'm really happy to see him finding a place where he doesn't have to just be engaging in conflict, and like showing, and it's better than he's showing love to that child that they're taking together, that uh, he's taking care together with the healing slime, and it's really wholesome as a evolution for a character.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, he's kind of like a, I don't know if I'd say he's fan favorite, but he's very controversial and he's a very interesting character. I'd like to spend more time with him and see more of his development. I'm especially looking forward to the inevitable, hopeful reunion confrontation between him and Aaron, because Thorin really is a big part of Aaron's journey as well as she a part of his. Samu, what did you think?
Yeah, I think, especially considering that we've not been with Thorin as much throughout the story for volumes, since he's had major arcs. I mean, he's been at Askaresh's castle and stuff, but that has never really been like his choice or his agency. And now that he's got his agency back, I think that's like, it really picks up his character development since he last saw Aaron. And I think especially the thing that he's basically just someone who wants to be loved, or maybe not loved even, but at least appreciated for what he does and stuff. I think that was really beautifully shown throughout the chapters, and that he responds so well to like constructive criticism and stuff like and stuff like that if he's offered it, and a little bit of guidance. That's really nice to see. And also the other aspect, when he goes job hunting, that he's really like, that he thinks he can't find appreciation anywhere, the thing that he lacked in the Wandering Inn, and he goes from job to job, so to speak, in a really escapist way of thinking about it, in a very materialistic job kind of sense, and like yeah, that's work for me. It's not just and what it actually is it's not just jobs for Thorin, because that's his life basically, and that he wants to have some fulfillment there. Is really, I think that there's a really cool aspect of there that everyone can read a little bit of them into, I think, individually even.
Absolutely, a very identifiable character, especially maybe for people going through major life changes or kind of remembering what it was like to kind of go through that period, for sure. Bleach Soul, what are your thoughts?
I absolutely loved the development of Thorin and how he, he's just looking for somewhere to belong and somewhere to be to protect also slime and be safe. He wants to work, especially in this economy. So yeah, I really liked how he rejected the temptation of the Skeleton King, and how he how he felt about Illic, the Drake, and then how Thorin protects him now and consider him part of the crew. So it's quite wholesome. I thought it was nice development, and of course, as always, I loved his relationship to the slime. So and his relationship to others, and how he was. When Lara asked him how many people did you kill, he just answered her and stuff. So, and it's great to see his plot and his character move forward. Maybe he will put all this Eren thing behind him, and yeah, and when they meet, maybe they will meet on equal footing. Yes, that's it.
Thanks for sharing. Yeah, hopefully, Thorin's at a point where he can confront Eren. Maybe they do meet at, an equal emotional footing, or maybe Eren will be the one that's kind of off the rails given the way her healing is going, but also all the crises that she's facing are going. We'll just have to see. All right. Mario says, hashtag Leon ruined the economy. Sidehammer, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. It hurts me to see how much it hurts him to expect pain and scolding for any and all failures. I'm generally an Aaron apologist when it comes to all that went down. I do feel like she had zero, like, she had zero expectation that he should be alive or could feel anything. At the same time, uh, this is the first time it's made me feel actually ashamed of what happened to him, and that is, and that sucks. He is just a boy looking for his mom. At the same time, he was a very murderous boy. He was a very murderous boy. But I think this is the first time in the actual story where um, the actual excuse was given that he had no soul, or he was being driven to this by the undead, by being undead, but he also had never been taught what good and evil was. Like, no one knew to. But this is the first time that the story has excused that for the first time. I think what it was Lara Self who said it, that it was just he was just basically a baby. Um, but yeah, I really enjoyed the torrent chapters. And that's my thought on those things.
Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing to point out, right? And it's a trait that we see, or not a trait, but it's a theme that we see often repeated in, I think, the Wandering Inn, right? Where characters are kind of just getting their start, they're making mistakes. A lot of things are very black and white for them, and then they start to kind of gain experience and understand there's more nuance to things, but then other characters don't kind of extend them that grace or realize that they're going through things for the very first time, right? We saw it with Kissamiver and the Horns when they realized how young he was. Really, all of the ants on Israel and them kind of going through and experiencing things for the very first time. We see it with the goblins time and time again. But it's great to sort of see Torin getting his due as well. I mean, he's committed a lot of atrocities, absolutely, but you could argue that he hasn't really had the chance to learn good and bad, so to speak. He's just kind of figuring it out now because courtesy hasn't been extended to him in the same way it has to maybe others. One of Aaron's biggest failings. All right. So Kineas says they're happy about it. They were afraid he would end up as an antagonist if the slime died, but they don't think that this is that kind of story. The fact that the people he killed will have to be developed and discussed more, and he still has more to learn, but they do think that even if Torin has responsibility about them, Aaron and Pisces have an even bigger share, and it hasn't been properly discussed. But everything can also be seen as very sad circumstances. I agree. Like, Aaron, we kind of were getting to at the last Aaron versus Torin confrontation, but Pisces really hasn't come into play on this when Pisces is kind of the creator of Torin, so to speak, right? Aaron was the one that he was bound to, but Pisces plays an even larger role in this. And I'm interested to sort of see a confrontation not only between Torin and Aaron again, but also Torin confronting Pisces as well. Okay, so I think that wraps up this discussion question. Could someone go ahead and pick the next one and post it in chat? All right, Sidehammer, thank you. Did any of the Adventurers Haven characters grow on you? So yeah, we're touching base with Haven characters again. What did you guys think? Like them, hate them, love them, don't care for them either way? Sidehammer, what are your thoughts?
I actually came to like Barnathay in this chapter. And he was just kind of a known character to me beforehand. Uh, I mean, not a known character. He obviously had his place. He was a tempter in a way, but he was obviously. I mean, he always seemed completely. He tried to take Isker when Isker is like loyalty, incarnated. I don't, so we all kind of knew he was an idiot but finally seeing him struggle, like actually struggle, and then how he influenced the others in dealing with Torn was, I don't know, it showed he was scared, but he managed to keep it together for his group, and that showed, at least what I feel is integrity. He felt responsible for all his people, and he put himself in between Torn and the rest of his group, and that says a lot for his character, in my opinion. But then in how they recognized, they allowed. I mean, I don't think that there's a better setting for Torn to be accepted, unless maybe it's in a magical setting, a very magical setting, and people understand all the intricacies of how, or a more necromantic setting. But being trapped with a horrible, horrible monster, and it's just there, and it's just staring there menacingly. That whole meme. But it's just wiping down the counters, cleaning the glass. There's no better place for Torn to be accepted, because he has a captive audience, and he's saying, "Look," or he's saying without saying, "Look, this is me not hurting you." So allowing Barnethai to take advantage, or to teach Torn, to allow Torn to be there, and then actually learning that he's not dangerous, and then defending him against Laura Cell and all the rest of the people, and then to be there to experience the boons of it, not just as labor, but also, it's he's not a monster, he's our monster, in a way, and Torrid hasn't had that, but just that he's smart enough to do that, I really appreciated him and all that.
All right. Thanks for sharing that. Mystical Pie says Barenthi definitely grew in them, but overall the Haven characters definitely stood on the lower end of the Wandering Inn characters for them. Samu, what are your thoughts?
I think Bleach Soul is first. I would give the floor to him first.
Okay, Bleach Soul, do you want to go ahead? And then we'll go to Samu. Thanks for that heads up, Samu.
Yes, thank you, Samu. Yeah, I liked the dynamics. I think it's because of Torrin that Barney became actually an innkeeper, from vice innkeeper to innkeeper, because of he defended Torrin and his employee, and he stood to Lara, and that's actually evolved his class to from vice innkeeper to innkeeper. He took leadership position, not only with regards to Lara, but regard to the staff as well. And that showed, growth from his part, because he appreciated hard work. Also, the others began treating Torrin fine after Barney has talked to them and stuff. So yeah, I think they grew on me, but they are not, a family. Like Lara said, they are just a bunch of people who work for money. They are not family yet. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's an interesting take to sort of see, right? We have to remember that Pirate is also in the habit of having characters kind of present biased viewpoints, right? Everything is, of course, from their point of view. And so sometimes what characters take is not necessarily the truth, especially when we switch to other characters' point of views and we kind of see it from their perspective. So that's a good point. All right. Now, Samu, go ahead.
Yeah, what I was thinking, that all Haven and New Haven characters grew on me a bit, because in general I think we've seen Barney and Lara both in a less controlled environment as they've been in so far in the story. They've been very much in charge. They were the biggest inn in town, more or less. Only Aaron kind of shook them a little bit, but they were still the top in Israel, and the most powerful person with Lara around. And I think now that we've seen them struggle, we've seen a little bit more of the side of both Lara and Barnate, and on how he says she picks up strays, but on the other hand, he's not completely heartless either. We've all kind of didn't like him much when he tried to headhunt Ishkur, I think. Nobody was very much in favor of that, or really cheered Ishkur on, but because we thought he was kind of not as nice and very commercially interested. But now that we've seen him struggle, he's really a good boss, kind of, also to the others that joined him in his new inn that he's known before, but also the new employees that Lara brought him, I think, and with Torren especially, that he's not just like, he's also an innkeeper because of passion, in a sense, and not just, and because he wants to do it and he wants to make it also a commercial success, but also because he likes to work with people and likes to work and has people around him in that sense. And I think that we've seen both his boss attitude as well as Lara picking up strays where she couldn't find any high quality people, now that she's in a little bit of a less good spot. And I think that's things we've also seen Eren do in a sense. And they still have different styles in a way, but they're not totally different in their mindset as innkeepers and protectors of sorts of their employees and guests.
Good point. All right, Kanea says they grew a bit on for them, but not enough. Illik was interesting as a new protege for Torren, a new friend for the slime, but he barely did anything. And Barnethi was interesting in thinking things through and the way he was teaching Torren and giving him a chance, but they do think that he is still a bit boring. The rest had a few moments, but not enough to be memorable. Laracel is the most interesting one, they think, but she didn't do much in that chapter. Mario says this chapter really was a look at the startup life. The whole chapter is a classic Bollywood team building story with new and old employees. Quotes, dies of corporate cringe. Okay, so I think that's it, unless anyone else has anything they want to jump in and say about Haven and their interactions with Torren. If not, go ahead and could someone put in the new discussion question? Sidehammer, preempting me. Okay. So, guys, what do you think about how Leon is going to influence Callanfer in the future, jumping into the interlude? Do you think she's going to have a big influence? Is she going to give it up and focus more on the inn and Israel? What do you guys think? Sidehammer, go ahead.
So for a long time, I was all about the. She's never going back to Calvert. As much as she said she would, or she, him and Hod over the idea of it, I was always on board. I was always on the Leon's not going anywhere aspect, and I thought that would be the end of her, influence either way in Calvert. Aside from anything to do with her parents. But then she went and destroyed the economy. And then she went and became the princess of the inn. And now she's a junior partner, but still a partner of Aaron Solstice. So there's no telling how she could disrupt all manner of things nowadays. The funniest thing is that it's the barmaid in her that's doing the disrupting, not the princessing. At least that's how I feel about it. It's from where she works, not because of what she was. It's definitely now in influence, and it's all one big conglomerate now. But it took the barmaid to bring the princess out. I love that. But seeing how much, uh, Leonette is affecting Elaine, her mother, and not even just in the normal ways, but in a real, as my rant earlier that I made a stereo read, saying that I think Leonette is living rent free behind Elaine's eyes right now, and not in the ways that normally she would. and I think that's really affecting the kingdom because it's affecting its queen so much. I'm not sure these. I don't think Elaine would be letting these rumors get through if she was on top of her game, and I think she's just placating or I don't know, mollifying to say that yes, this is totally what she intended, and I don't think she was. I think she's what's it called? Spinning. She's spinning it into something, but she's trying to pretend that it was all in her plan. And so I think that's affecting the kingdom a lot. And this is a really interesting time to be around there because I love watching people. I love the outside aspects when they talk about the crazy things that happen in the end. It's always one of my favorite part of the story is the legends that spring up around it. It's really my favorite thing. Anyways, okay, we've got some other responses here, so I'll let them go. Bye bye.
No, I think those are some great insights. Thank you. So Mystical Pie says they think we've reached a point where Leonette needs to go to Callanfur to continue growing as her own character. She's always said she will, and they haven't wanted that for her character, but they think it does make sense at this point. Papa has slowly been getting her more intertwined with Callanfur since the last volume when she talked to Seraphel after the war, and they really enjoy her interactions with other family members and especially her mother. So they hope she will grow increasingly intertwined with Callanfur and make them more involved with the world. Kanea says they think that the main way she will influence Callanfur will be in the way that she will influence her sisters and parents. She did have a big effect in Vernoue, and she might be having an effect on her parents. Similar scenes of contact with her other sisters might happen in the future, or just her growing fame will inspire them, but it might also cause conflict and some 100% emoji agreements. Bleach Soul, what do you think?
Yes, I think she's changing Kalimfar already in ways, in a mysterious ways, you can say. She's already gave Vernoue a goal, and her mother, and she put like her mother in her place. I love the fact that she called her Elaine, not mother, and she's not afraid of her. And yeah, I mean, it's funny between Lionette and Rabbit Eater, they're changing like half of the princesses. Yeah, so it's gonna be like instead of Elaine, use them as merchandise to promote Kalimfar or just sell them to the highest bidder or whatever. It will be some kind of different approach. I think it will lead to a different approach where is like the princesses choose who they wanna marry and marry because of the heart, not because of obligation to Kalimfar. So I can see that heading that way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, Marios, what did you think?
Yeah, I think Lion is going to be the shadow ruler of Calanfer. Maybe she won't be the queen because I think she will still be in Liscor, but just by the influence and like every single major decision that they have to take now, it has to revolve about the inn, especially now that they are basically bound by diplomacy to what the inn does. So yeah, it's like Calanfer is just not about what.
I think you might have gotten cut off.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I think Lionette could be a kind of like a shadow ruler of Calanfer in a way that every single international policy that they have to take from now on will be really heavily influenced by the Wandering Inn. And they already intertwined since they took the stance to start handling the problem that happened after Erin killed Iroden. Yeah, after she killed the prince. So I think Lynette is going to have like a really important role in Calanfer's politics going forward.
Yeah, I know some people have talked about wanting to see her, and by people I mean just in like the Discord chat groups and the main Wandering Inn server. But people have wanted to see her maybe become the ruler, right, rather than one of her other sisters. People want to see her kind of assume a leadership position on Israel. So it sounds like you guys want to see her go back to Callanfur, but do you want to see her become the ruler of that nation, or just kind of go back, have development, come back to Israel? Do you want Mishra to go with her or stay at the inn? I mean, one of the big issues with her leaving the inn is that who's going to take her place, right? Who's going to run it in her stead? Can it run in her stead, especially if Aaron, I mean, Aaron, I don't feel like the Aaron's run the inn in forever. It's been mostly Leonette. So who takes over at the inn when both of them are gone, if Aaron doesn't come back? This is kind of an open-ended question. Mario says, Shadow Ruler of Callanver. Yeah, they could do that. I don't know if Leonette wants to. She obviously wants to take a leadership role and position. She's kind of doing that with money and connections right now. She's enjoying ruling the inn. I don't know if she wants to rule a nation, though, so to speak. Do you guys have any thoughts? Feel free to jump in if you do.
Yeah. I'm thinking she doesn't want to rule Kalimfar, not from the shadows or anything. I believe like she will help Kalimfar and help her family, of course, but she will not rule it. I don't believe that's her goal or her ambition. She's more like she might start like her own little kingdom in Israel. I mean, the villagers are part of her inn, you can say, as in quotation. So maybe she will start her own thing and manage it the way she wants, and to help as many people as possible. Because if she's like the ruler of Califar, she has to do what's best for Califar while she is when she is in the inn and ruler of like few people, she can help many people in the way she wants without any kind of political intrigue or any kind of manipulation or any kind of thing. She can just do her thing without worried about political fallout. Thank you.
Yeah, gotcha. Thanks for that. All right. So I think Mystical Pie's. All right, there we go. So Mystical Pie says they don't know if being a ruler makes sense for Leonette, but they do think a jaunt in Callanfur would be interesting for a character. At the very least, she needs to finally see her parents and her sister in person again, and it feels like returning would be coming full circle. They see Seraphil or maybe Menacey as a more likely candidate for succeeding Elaine, but Elaine and Rickless are just young enough that they won't be dying of old age. Maybe Pirate will pull out a death for them, but they aren't sure. We'll get to see that within the course of the story, which is fair, right? Because these are interludes, not necessarily the main plot points or main story points that are going on. This could be an entire book. Callanfur and its history could be an entire book just by itself. That's for sure. All right, so let's do another discussion question. If someone wants to select one and throw it into chat. Unless there's anything, here we go. Sidehammer says, and Marios. Okay, same discussion question. Popular. All right, so we're definitely doing this one. So from Marios and Sidehammer, bets on Vernoue's magic teacher and why. So, speculation question. What do you guys think? Where are you placing your bets, and what is your justification for your choice? I'm going to nominate Marios, you first, since you were the second one, and then we'll go to Sidehammer. What do you think?
Okay, I think I'll go with the goblins one just because it's such a wild card, and I think I really want to know what kind of magic they do at the island, and it will be really interesting to see what kind of magical route they went there. But also I don't remember if the goblin witch is also in that list, or
I mean, pretend she is. What do you think?
oh, I think also the Goblin Witch would be a really interesting choice because they come across as they have like unconventional magic that is something that seems to be that Vernoue is kind of interested in, especially in the way that she seems to be doing magic. That she does, she gets spells that are not the usual or not the what you will expect as other mages. All right.
All right. Thanks, Sidehammer. What are your thoughts?
Hey, I asked the question because I wanted the answers. I didn't have a thought myself.
Do you have any thoughts or
I
thoughts
think
of your own before other people
I was
answer?
trying to figure it out. I was trying to figure it out while I read, and I was just completely mind blank. Maybe the galaxy. I think the most interesting part was the galaxy, the illusions dude, the illusions dude. I thought that was funny. He'd already called her mom, asking how they knew that name, and I thought that was funny. But
Okay.
the real thing, I mean, she's already woke up screaming to the idea of waking up next to Eldavin. I mean, she's been through how many? She's been through those teachers, and she saw them are in her vision thing, and she hated each one until she died. In the goblin vision thing. So,
Sure.
or in the vision thing. So, I don't know. I really don't. I really don't have an answer to this.
All right. Well, Mystical Pie says they hope it is Ezekiel because the Goblin Isle interlude is one of their favorites. They honestly have no idea what connections Menacee has, so it could be just as likely that it's someone we've never heard of. Maybe Tzaire, since Vernoue expressed interest in seeing Eldavin, but they don't think if that makes sense for what we've seen of Tzaire's character. Okay, so looks like the favor is for maybe goblins, just to make that connection, but could be anyone, could be a new character. I'm thinking that we have enough characters at this point that are widespread enough that it's probably someone we've heard of, even just albeit briefly, but it would be nice to make that goblin connection, especially kind of following in after the connection and development that Leonet's had with goblins at the inn and everything. Okay, so we have time for one last discussion question. Go ahead and throw that into chat. It looks like Sidehammer and Marios are on the same wavelength. So let's talk about Menacee. I'm not sure that's a discussion question, other than you guys just want to talk about our character. So what do you guys want to talk about here? Sidehammer, go ahead.
So, very fascinating character. I loved the. I loved her, to be honest. She's really awesome. It was. I mean, prior to meeting her, this was a very interesting character. And then after meeting her, I'm like, oh, okay. She also speaks to my, perversion. That's awesome. This is a full bodice ripper. I could
Mhm.
see an entire, side, or if Pirate ever branched off for, to making
Mhm.
those type of stories, I would read it because I read all types of things. Fascinating. Uh, the mutual red or bloodline skills that they've got, the mutual bloodline skills, I should say, um, affecting or how one one person affects the other in such a visceral and in that they in that they're in that the system itself acknowledged you hate this person so much and are intertwined with this person so much that they gave a mutual skill for it. It's kind of crazy, and it
Mhm.
just kind of speaks to passion, and they're in the perfect place. They were in
Yep.
the country of passion. So, what do you thought?
I don't necessarily have anything specific here, but it looks like Mario's does.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I was really happy with this chapter, with that part of the chapter, especially because of the passion that these two characters have for each other, despite like it's like a relationship really filled with conflict, but it's like almost like a performance because they cannot keep going if they don't love each other, even despite their conflict that they represent, and they remind me a lot of the Addams Family, just like that other pair from Gravesong. Yeah, and they had like a similar chemistry, and like it's like the chemistry was like oil and fire. It's just really good.
I
All
agree
right.
with the Addams family, except they were deathly loyal to each other. That's the only thing I have to dispute. They are Addams family if they were unloyal.
Fair enough. Yeah, Adam's family, despite all of their attempted murdering and beheading and torturing of each other, was done out of love. Okay,
It
so
really is.
it is.
Just kind of waiting for Mystical Pie to write
Yeah,
that down.
Mystical Pine Kaneas. There we go. Miss Kaneas says, mostly agree with Sidehammer. Fascinating and complex character. Interesting way for red skills to work. But we will need more info about her past and about the way she's currently living. Mystical Pie says, Manisi is definitely interesting. They do not think they love each other, though. They seem to be stuck together, and the system twisted that to an insane degree to make it more tolerable for each of them. Okay. Sidehammer, any last thoughts on this question? Marios?
Thank you.
No, it was a really fun chapter, and it was really interesting to see that ayahuasca trip that that Vernoue had.
We could not talk about it. So yeah.
That is true. That is true. Thank you for bringing it up. All right, so that'll conclude today's ACD on chapter 10.42T and Interlude with Vernoue. Thanks for joining, guys. Hope to see you next time. Should your schedules permit, always great to discuss these chapters with you and gain insights that sometimes we may miss on our own.